September 2004, Canadian journalist Scott Taylor was abducted and held for 5 days in Iraq. His captors were convinced that he was a spy and tortured him.
I remembered at that moment that I was, of course, the hated enemy. And you could see it in their eyes. I mean, they would see me knowing, what I looked like, and that individual would then immediately want to kill me.
The real story of the Iraq War needs to be told. It has to be. It becomes personal. Like many of us, Scott could not let himself be defeated by the terror, by the insanity, by the personal danger. Scott returned to Iraq embedded with the American Army. He was taken by the American forces to the military base Camp Sykes near Tal Afar.
Coming back here, I'm reliving it, which I don't think many people can. I mean, you can't walk yourself back through a car accident. But in this case, I'm getting in the same car, basically driving down the same highway and being able to see where we went.
The constant fighting between the insurgents and American forces has made Tal Afar a virtual ghost town. The Army has approved a budget of $8 million to rebuild the city. In the meantime, the base is a mini city of 5,000 soldiers. The American Army has succeeded in creating a virtual America for themselves and their guests in the heart of Iraq.
Hot running water, round the clock, air-conditioned units. I mean, you plug in your DVD player, watch a movie at night. This is hotel warfare. You go outside the gates, this is tough. Oh, I mean, putting on all that armor and going through there, yeah.
Tal Afar is a nasty little place right now.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and you know it. You know it. Tal Afar is a nasty little fight right now. We've had U.S. casualties. We've had Iraqi casualties. But we've also done damage to the bad guys. And I'm not going to get into the body count thing.
When Scott Taylor traveled into Tal Afar under the heavy protection of the Army, he wasn't able to have any contact with the local population. One day, there was a suicide bombing in the city, but much to his frustration, Scott was not free to cover it. He was now embedded, and the Army told him they could not provide him with safe cover.
Embedded journalism, it may sound exciting. I think you're probably more in the dark here than you would be back home, or that information is being released by whatever the Pentagon back home, when and if they decide to release it. Then they'll come and tell you, and you can add some color to it.
He was sympathetic or empathetic to different types of people. And I think what happens is that once you do see those other sides, you now are part of the people who know, or sorry, part of that is in your conscience. And you can't turn your back then. You just can't. And I really, really admire that about him. And it's really hard to admire that sometimes because it's at our expense. A lot of times, my son and myself.